What's up everyone, Lion Roar here, and today we're going to take a look at Cleaver and Malin from the Covenant Summon. But first, download Gemstone Legends, a mobile RPG puzzle match game. Use the link in the description to start with free stuff, including a bonus hero. Alright, so off the bat, what I notice about both Cleaver and Malin is actually their card art. I love the new card art with the extra little bit of pizzazz with the decor on the side of the card. The hero art is okay too, but I mean, I think that it makes it more interesting to see some cool new card art. But how did the specials stack up? Let's take a look at Cleaver first, a 5-star fire hero of the Barbarian class. Not one of the best classes, but I mean, if you're going to be putting talents on this hero, it's because of the stat boosts. Also part of the Monster Hunter family that gets stronger the more Monster Hunter family heroes you have. So it's a bonus for 2, 3, 4, or 5 heroes of 5, 10, 15, or 20% attack. And that matters because, let's be honest, the direct damage needs a little bit of a boost here. So if you get multiples of this family, you're in luck. Damage over time on special is one of the passives here. When the character casts their special skill, they give the Hunter's Mark to a random enemy. The target receives 150 damage over 3 turns. If a target already has this effect, the duration will be refreshed and the damage will be increased by 150 up to 1500 damage in total. And this is actually like a sneaky, strong passive effect here. And in fact, it goes along with a theme with Cleaver where I think people are going to underestimate Cleaver a bit because there's going to be a whole bunch of nickel and diming damage. You're just going to wonder where all your HP on your team went whenever you're fighting against Cleaver because of things like this. And then we have another passive here, special skill damage reduction. This character has a 10% chance to drop their direct damage received from special skills to 1. Now, it's only 10%, but this is an amazing ability to have as a special. This is something that we used to see only on like active specials sometimes, but this is on a passive. It's only 10%, so I don't think it's going to be like broken or anything, but sometimes you're going to go to take Cleaver out and it's going to deal 1 damage. In fact, it says 10%, but you know as well as I, whenever you're facing Cleaver on defense, it's going to be like 90%. It's like the opposite of what it says. But anyway, the stats, 801 attack, which is high traditionally for Empires and Puzzles, normal for this day and age, 811 defense, same thing, and 1472 HP. Bone Ritual is the special. It is at fast speed. That's important because take a look at all this text here. All right, what do we got going on? First of all, deals 100% damage to all enemies. That's not a lot. That's why, you know, it's nice to get a little bit of an attack boost if you can grab a couple of the Monster Hunter heroes. But that's not the main part of the special. In fact, apparently in beta, it didn't have this at all, and they have added it afterwards. This is where the main part of the special comes in. Summons a Bone Trap Fiend for all enemies. The Fiend damages the enemy with 45% attack every turn. The damage increases by 8% each turn up to a maximum of 93%. And, of course, like with other Fiend heroes, the Bone Trap Fiend absorbs healing and disappears when it has absorbed health equal to 35% of its owner's max health. That's what we're used to seeing with a lot of these Fiend heroes, so this is nothing new, but this is where a lot of the nickel and diming damage is going to come in, where you're like, where did the HP go? And then, lastly, all enemies get negative 32% attack and a further 5% decrease every time they're hit during 4 turns. So really, this hero looks a lot like Hannah, but that's a much better special, actually. Now, I grossly underestimated Hannah the first time she came out, so I'm not going to do it again on this one. We got a fast speed hero that's going to affect all the opponents with the same effect of Hannah, basically. But unlike Hannah, which often gets used as a tank, in a lot of war situations, people are using purple tanks, so you're not going to see Cleaver all that much, at least in wars, at the tank position, unless this hero tips the balance in favor of red tanks just enough, because there are a lot of really good other red tanks out there, and there are plenty of alliances floating out there that use red tanks. So if Cleaver turns out to be good enough at that position, there might be just enough red tanks for a lot of alliances to say, hey, let's switch this up and go from purple to red. So there's the potential for it to be a tank, and Cleaver will be a really good tank if that's the case. But if an alliance is using purple tanks, for example, then you probably see this hero at the flank. I think it's best placed at like the right flank, because you want something on the left flank like some kind of buff or taunt or defense down or something like that. But I think because Cleaver's fast speed, you could also very realistically put Cleaver at, like, let's say the right wing. And that would be perfectly acceptable, because especially if you're using a lot of area of effect type heroes, then you might want to move any of the ones that are like average speed to that flank spot and move the fast speed Cleaver to the far right wing. So that's something to consider. I think there's actually multiple places on defense Cleaver could go. I think Cleaver's probably best on defense, but absolutely, you know, as a sort of specialist support hero, you could take Cleaver on offense as well. That's fine. It's just not as good as defense, I don't think. You're probably not going to be using Cleaver against the Titan, probably not against anyone in like tournaments or I should say events, like where speed matters. Yes, in tournaments you'll see Cleaver in tournaments, but maybe not in those events where speed matters. So there's going to be a lot of overall all around use for Cleaver. We know Hannah's strong, so I'm going to give Cleaver an A. For that reason. Fast speed, big and beefy, does a lot, and the passives are amazing. Next up, we have Malin, a 5-star holy hero of the monk class. Also part of the Monster Hunter family, which again increases the attack when you have multiples. The passive damage over time on special. So whenever this character casts their special skill, they give a hunter's mark on random enemies. This is the same thing we saw before, where basically it's doing that nickel and dime damage. The next passage is that special skill damage reduction. So both Cleaver and Malin have this dropping special skill damage to 1 10% of the time, or 90, whatever. It depends on whether you're using her on offense or defense. I'm kind of joking, but like, you know what I mean. 788 attack, 828 defense, and 1452 HP. So it's a little bit beefier than Cleaver with that 828 defense, and not quite as strong of an attack special here, but actually Malin does a lot of damage through the special. So let's take a look at that. Wild Cleave is the special at slow, which I don't love, but if the special's strong enough, could be really good in the very fast tournaments and wars. Deals 325% damage to all enemies. That's a lot. That's a lot for AoE hitting every hero. At slow speed, it better hit everybody for a lot of damage. And if you get some bonus damage from having multiple heroes, that's even better. All enemies receive 448 bleed damage over 4 turns against dark characters. This status effect becomes uncleansable and lasts 2 turns longer. All enemies get negative 75% decrease for any healing received for 4 turns. Against dark characters, the status effect becomes uncleansable and lasts 2 turns longer. All enemies get negative 35% accuracy for 4 turns. Chance to miss also applies to offensive special skills against dark characters. This status effect becomes uncleansable and lasts 2 turns longer, and deals extra damage against dark. Alright, so this is obviously a dark hating hero. It might be good to take against all those purple tanks out there, especially, like I said, in very fast wars and tournaments where the slow is not going to matter at all. But let's kind of like break this down a little bit, because I think this looks like a pretty obvious defensive hero. Still works really well on offense. But I think you're going to see this, like, it wants to be a tank. It really, really wants to be a tank. It's just nobody's running yellow tanks. But if it's not going to be a tank, again, that right flank position looks pretty good for Malin. Putting a slow hero on the wing it's hard to do unless it's very fast, you know, wars or tournaments, like maybe the far right wing potentially. But I kind of feel like there's a really big difference in the quality of this hero based on whether it's like a regular condition for a war or tournament or whether it's a very fast one. Because I feel like the benefit of this hero really drops off when it's not very fast. Because in this day and age, the slow heroes just do not have enough time to go off. Now, if you're a beginning player or mid-tier player, this hero is balling. It's going to be awesome. Like, this is going to be a great hero. Don't worry about the slow. But if you're fighting in those upper tier war matchups and tournaments and things like that, well, the slow is going to be a big problem. Oftentimes, as the attacker, you better have your specials firing off after 5 or 6 turns, or at least have a really good setup, because if you get past that, it's really hard to win. And, you know, trying to use Malin on offense and not being able to fire the special, or like even when it's on defense, if the opponent has the board, well, you know, they start picking apart heroes, you can easily control Malin. So here's the thing. If Malin goes off, Malin does exactly what a slow hero should do, which is wreck people. I mean, if Malin goes off, it's close to game over, which is what I say a slow hero needs to have to be good. And then very fast wars, forget about it. This hero is just amazing. Like, definitely an A hero in that respect. So I'm a little sketchy on Malin in non-very fast situations. You're certainly not going to be using this against the Titan, you know, and in events, maybe in events, you know, if you can put a big beefy mana a troop on it and, you know, take it. The slow doesn't matter quite as much, I think, in events as it does in something like war or tournaments where things can just be so fast. But I think it's a good hero. I think it's a really good hero. I'm a little sketchy in non-very fast situations because of the slow speed, and so that for that reason I'm gonna bump Malin to an A minus. Can't give it an A because I just don't think she's useful all around. But very good, strong, obviously strong hero. So let me know in the comments if you got any of these heroes, if you power leveled them and you're testing them out, if you've got them on defense, or even like if you're a beta tester and you have opinions about how the play goes. I really want to know. So hit me up in the comments, and if you haven't already, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you know when I drop new videos or go live, and I will catch you in the next one.